Hello everyone, I am Walt, and this is the Enlightened Life series. Going through some philosophy here once again, which is always fun. Doing one of my famous walk and talks. So, what is today's subject? What is it all about? This subject is about why there is no fate, okay? Now, this is also mentioned a lot in The Alchemist, a book I'll finally do a little kind of tutorial series on eventually here somewhere. But in the meantime, talking about The Alchemist, let's get to the world's greatest lie. One of the most memorable parts of the whole books, of the whole book, that at least a lot of people I've talked to about it seem to remember and think things about. So, the world's greatest lie is basically that at some point in your life, fate's gonna take over, okay? And this is a ridiculous idea. People think that someday I'm just going to do it, and then it's like somebody's going to have stuck, permanent like opioids into my brain, and I'm just going to always feel pleasure, and everything's just going to flow, and I'm not going to have to deal with any of this like day-to-day crap. And this is an idea for some reason humanity is just sold on time and time again. People just think, you know what, someday I'm just going to have this massive success and it's all just going to work out for me, but I'm not going to have to struggle to do that. I'm not going to have to push myself to do that. I'm not going to have to do something differently or change my way of thought. I'm just going to someday, meet my prince and he's going to take me away and we'll live happily ever after. So people almost have that kind of mentality, and I may eventually do a video on relationships and how some things have changed over time so that people now kind of expect a perfect partner and have issues with some things there. But in the meantime, before I get to doing a video like that, this one is really just kind of getting at why there isn't fate, okay? So you're never gonna not be in your life, okay? Now that's assuming you're not dead, okay? If you're dead here, there's not really much you can do about any of that. But at that point, you're probably not going to be caring or whatever you're at. Let's not get into that, okay? Let's just say if you're not dead, if you're in your life, if you're living your life, there's never going to be a point when you are just going to have fate take over. Now, if you have something like DID, dissociative identity disorder, there will be periods of blackout, and that's not bliss, okay? That is just a separate, it's been explained as separate personality taking over, even though it's actually just a fractured personality disorder. But let's not get into psychology. Let's kind of try to keep on topic here. The reason there's no fate is because there will never be a point when you're just going to walk through your life and not have to deal with anything day to day, because you're always going to be here, okay? It's always going to be you. So if you think, oh, if I become an engineer here, then I'll make a bunch of money and I'll live happily ever after and everything will just work out and, and eventually I'll learn to love engineering. Okay, if you love engineering, good for you, go be an engineer. If you hate engineering, there's never going to be a point when suddenly you just learn that out of the blue, you're going to love it and it's just going to be happily ever after. See, we're told stories of perfection, of perfectionism, that says that if we do everything right, suddenly we'll end up having a great fate of happiness, or we'll have a great afterlife of happiness. And I just don't really see the point of that idea, because we can be extremely happy right now, and we don't have to do things perfectly to get there. We're not going to have to feel bad and feel guilty and feel shameful about our day-to-day lives, okay? When we are willing to accept, there is no fate, okay? There's nothing that is going to just say, okay, everything's just going to work out this certain way perfectly. And if you go with the idea for a second that there is fate, because, you can have that belief if you really want to stick with it. I'm not here to, say, oh, you can't have that belief. Instead, it's just to try to say fate is something that is just... like, where is it, okay? Where is it the force that is directly controlling our lives? So if you choose to believe in a God or not, okay, it seems, you can go and consult that God or deity for advice to do a meditation, or consult the subconscious mind, the universe, stuff like that. But regardless of that, that's not fate, okay? You're still making your own decisions, you're still exposed to your own, thought process, to all these different factors, and you're always the one at the wheel. It's like people are driving a car in their life, okay? And then suddenly they think that at one point, this car is going to transform into a self-driving car that will just always take them where they want to go. And unless you like build a modification to your car here, it is not just going to turn into a self-driving car if it's not already a self-driving car. And that's just kind of the thing about your life. Your life is not just going to suddenly change and be all perfect just because, you know, like fate will take over, because there will never be a point when fate is just going to show up. So if you think you're fated to do a certain thing, okay, if you think that you're fated to have this exact kind of thing, then like, where's your life? Where is your free will? This kind of goes back to the Puritan argument that was presented of just about the elect, about how this doesn't really make sense because then our entire lives would be entirely predestined kind of component. Not really going to that full argument, but I just want to get at the point that fate, like, so many people believe that they're fated for bad luck, you know, for just this whole like, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all kind of mentality. And there's no reason to think that, because you can change your life, you can change your thoughts, you can change almost everything in your life if you have the right desires to do so. The right desire and belief. Taking that desire and belief, which will culminate into action, which will allow you to achieve what you desire to achieve. Okay? So, we can let go of the idea of fate. Instead, take the wheel for yourself. If you think that fate just means that, you know, you're going to do something great, then why not keep that idea around? Okay, if you think it's just destiny or success or, you know, God's plan for you to do something great in the world, then whatever. That's not really the kind of fate I am going after here. The problem of fate is the kind where people think it's going to take control of their lives for them. They're not going to have to make their own decisions. They're not going to have to go through their day-to-day life. Because you know what? You're always going to have to do that. Okay? There's no way to just have a life where you can completely, you know, have that kind of fate that's described in fairy tales of living happily ever after. There's never going to be a point where that just happens. Now, if you want to say that you're going to have fate to do something great, or to, you know, the examples I just gave like a half a minute ago, then go after that. That's all fine, okay? It's just when you think that some magical force is going to come and fix all your life, it's not. Take control of your life and become the person you want to be. Go after what you want to do, watch these kind of videos, and become really successful, become really happy. Because in the end, that's what it's all about. Thank you all for watching. I am Walt. That's why there is no fate. Let's discuss this kind of stuff because I love it. So I know you guys love it too. So let's get talking about it. Let's figure out the truth as best we can. Let's discuss it, because that's what philosophy is all about. Anyway, that's about it for this part. So I'll see you guys next time with our next video. Stay tuned. I'll see you then.